The Deauville American Film Festival has named Dylan Penn Hollywood's Rising Star for 2021. Daughter of actors Robin Wright and Sean Penn, she's here with a movie directed by her father.
Before I said yes to this project, I asked my mom what it was like to be directed by my father. And she said, without hesitation, it was the best experience that she had ever had.
Flag Day is inspired by the real-life story of Jennifer Vogel and the dysfunctional relationship she had with her fascinating father, a flamboyant conman and bank robber. She plays the lead role alongside her own dad, Sean Penn, and brother Hopper.
And I would like to give a special hello to the rising star and who gave such an extraordinary performance, such a moving performance in Flag Day, Dylan Penn.
Dylan, Deauville is giving you the Hollywood Rising Star Award. What does that mean to you?
It's kind of surreal. Like, I don't really think it's set in yet. I don't know, I guess I feel so lucky to be here, and after being in Cannes, which was incredible and chaotic and amazing, to be in such an intimate setting like this is so sobering. And I think, I got here yesterday and I went to the screening last night, and to see like the kind of films that are being shown here, and I don't know, like the melting of two cultures coming together over cinema is really beautiful to me. But I just feel really honored to be getting that award.
And both your parents are accomplished actors, but for a long time you didn't want to act. What changed your mind?
Yeah, I was really against it for a long time. I honestly thought that acting was a ridiculous career. I thought, like adults dressing up as other people, like how crazy is that? I always wanted to be in the film industry. I just always wanted to be behind the camera. And I still do, but I guess I just decided after both of my parents separately told me, suggested this, that I should know what it's like to act before I direct. So that's initially what got me into auditioning, and the first thing I ever did was a horror film that I was awful in. But I had such a great time, and I felt like I was learning a lot. And then obviously when this came back around, it felt like, what an amazing role. Like, how do I pass this up? And also to work with my family, my father and my brother.
And people who work in film usually do that usual waiting tables, bar work, and despite what people might expect, you actually did that sort of work too, didn't you?
Oh yeah, for years. Yeah, I mean, I waited tables, I was a hostess, I delivered pizzas for a couple of years, and I was doing that. I mean, you have to do that while you're auditioning, because it's not like you're making any money. And then I also did, I started modeling a little bit, and I was modeling by day and delivering pizzas by night. So it was kind of it's a humbling experience, that's for sure.
It's important, I think, isn't it? Now, this is your first lead role. What was it like being directed by your father, but also acting opposite him?
Being directed by him is exactly what I expected. However, very intense. He knows exactly what he wants. He his vision is fully realized, no matter what the obstacle is. So obviously this was an independent film. We had no money, and he forfeited all of his money to put it into the film. And then to act with him was everything and more. I was really nervous to act opposite him. And I kind of felt like maybe he would swallow me in the scene, and he's just so powerful and aggressive in his acting. And I felt like as soon as we sat down, our first scene was in the diner, I just felt like a complete ease come over me, because he's also very, not only giving as an actor, but as a director, he lets you improvise a lot. So the script, even though our script was amazing, Jez Butterworth's writing is incredible, and we really tried to stick to Jennifer's story, we used the script as a guide, so the dialogue a lot of it is improvised. And that just makes things much freer as an actor, I think. And as a director, he did something really interesting that I've never seen another director do. He had me, Catherine Winnick, and my brother, and Danny Motor, our cinematographer, all go into each location in pre-production before we started shooting. So we felt the home that we lived in, and we really, everything feels natural. So I think that was something that I'll always do on every other film from here on out. I think that's really important. Dad, what do you do?
What do you mean, what do I do?
I mean, for a living, what do you do for a living?
You know what I do for a living? I'm an entrepreneur. My skill is opportunities.
Like what?
For instance, right now I got a whole raft of businesses. I'm working a very broad portfolio. And when you work it that way, you're not dependent on one business to be your bread and butter. You know, yield goes down on one, pops up on another. And the good news is that I'm doing really great with that.
And did you have any disagreements?
Oh, yeah. Many. But again, he's my director, so I consider it he's my boss.
But there was one about makeup, wasn't there?
Yes. So this was towards the end of shooting, and this was a particular scene. I'm not going to give it away, but it's a particular scene where, I'm crying in a lot of these scenes, but it's an emotional scene. And I really thought that I should be wearing mascara, and he did not want me to wear mascara. So it was a 2.5-hour standoff between me and my dad. And he just goes silent when he disagrees with somebody. So it was silent on the set for 2.5 hours. And then he won.
Yeah. Your character does a kind of 180 in the film. She starts off with quite serious drug problems, but then she gets a job. She wants to take control of her life. I just wondered, in your own life, if you had ever had an experience like that.
Oh, yeah. As a young person, you always experiment. I think that I never felt like I got out of control. I never felt like I was going to kill myself at one point, so I think there's a difference there between me and Jennifer. But yes, I think being in a dark place or not feeling like you have your parents' support, I can't really imagine that because I really have always had mine. But I think there is this major transition in your mid to late 20s where you just feel I don't know, you've really grown up, something's changed. I just turned 30 and I feel like a different person from 25 years old. I don't even feel like that's the same Dylan. So I think in that way, I really connect to Jennifer.
And when you read the script, what scenes did you think were going to be the most challenging?
I was really nervous about my fight with Katherine, with Patty, Katherine, who plays my mom, because it's so physical, and I think any daughter who has a complicated relationship with their mother can identify that when it gets to a certain point, when you feel like your parent isn't protecting you or you feel like you're their parent, that's a really pivotal moment.
It's not your turn. You didn't know where to draw the line.
Oh. We're gonna go live with Dad.
There are things about your father that you don't know.
So I was nervous to do that one. And then it's amazing because I love talking about this because Katherine is an ex-judo karate champion. She was owned all of her own studios before she started acting. I think the reason she started acting was that she trained Demi Moore for Charlie's Angels, and Demi Moore was like, "You're so beautiful, you should act." So she's really, her background is a fighter. So I think it was 24 hours before we started shooting that scene, I went to her apartment and she was like, "Come at me." I'm like, I barely know you. I'm not going to come at you. She's like, no, come at me. And I came at her, and she put me on the floor probably 6 times. And I was coming at her in full force. So by the day we did it, next day, I was so ready to beat the shit out of her that we really, I mean, everything in that scene is real. Like, and we really hit each other, and it was like, I mean, it's safe, I'm not saying, you know, but it was so much fun, and it made the emotions so, like, easy to come up because we were really physically hurting each other.
And just one last question. Your father is an extraordinary actor. What's your favourite film of his?
It's hard. I just love Milk so much, but I also love Dead Man Walking. I think that that's like, and it's also, that's my dad, that person. And I just like see his vulnerability in that I love. So I think, yeah, Dead Man Walking is my favorite.
Okay, Dylan Penn, thank you.
Thank you. Wearing with you my dreams I will be sharing. In whatever you choose to endeavor, I will support you forever and ever.
I think the greatest hope a man can have is to leave something beautiful behind. Something he made.
Climate change is forcing Senegal to revive its Great Green Wall project, on hold now for 15 years. The Pan-African Agency is in Louga in the northwest to talk to the people there.
Cet arbre dont ils ont besoin, ils vont s'en occuper, ils vont l'aimer, ils vont l'arroser, et ils vont attendre de lui qu'il donne des fruits.
A huge project sowing a small seed of hope.
Forestation, as a result, that has plunged the community into poverty, and poverty albeit migration, conflicts.
Find out how some of Africa's most arid lands are being brought to life in Revisited on France 24 and France24.com. France 24, your economy explained. Liberté, égalité, actualité.